Hi, my name is Bob Allings, and this is a recording from the presentation I gave at AI 5050 a few weeks ago in Brussels. View differently, new perspectives. Does AI turn the world upside down? I have already started, now you. There is also a reason why I'm standing upside down, because if AI turns the world upside down, I have to look at it upside down, which very little people are doing, and that's what this presentation is about. Prompt engineering, to me, in 2024, it looks like 1924, where we wanted to extract information out of people, we want to enforce them our will, and that's how most people prompt. We determine or we say we want this, and we just want the AI to listen to us. We want it to obey. That's how we prompt engineer in 2024. And all of you know cheat sheets, no yapping, offer money. My life depends on this. I use it as toilet paper. To me, it's worthless crap. It's shortcuts which don't work, assumptions, and the best toilet paper to me is the ones which claim 10 times better performance. To me, this is like a 10-layer toilet paper. It's very soft on my, well, you know what. Another thing most people are using, you are now, act as. You are now a copywriter with 10 years experience and blah, 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 blah. You're a marketeer. And again, putting the model in roles is putting the model in a template. But you have no clue what the template is about. Again, you assume this. And what I like most is what I call impressive prompts. When you read the prompts and the models, the roles, they are so impressive that as a human, you might think, well, this should give an incredible result. Copywriter with 10 years experience and also marketeer, your SEO expert, and 10 roles in one, all better than the other ones. It's bullshit. You don't know what a role does. No one knows, but you can ask. That's what I will tell you later in this presentation. The same applies to frameworks. We use frameworks, and I'm not against frameworks. They're very nice, but before you start building a framework, you need to know what you're building and what materials you're building it with. Again, now you're using roles. You use words which you assume do something. You put them in a framework, and then you hope it'll work. Framework should be something solid, like in this image of steel. You should know what you're building with. You should know what the prompts really do, not assume. Only when you master what prompts really do, you can start building frameworks. And in my opinion, 99% of all the people doing prompting have no idea what their prompts are really doing. And what does this give? Average results. Now, average isn't bad, but average is average. And what we see is still more average results. And I call it average. It's the new AI average. And the more you use AI and the more people use it in the way everyone is using it now, we will get average results. The trick is how to get out of average. And hopefully I can tell you a little bit more about that. And because of this, I think prompt engineering is dead. The way we engineer now, it's not the way forward. So if you have a phone now, please look at it and turn it into silence mode. This is important for the next slide, because now we're going to remember prompt engineering. So please show 1 millisecond of respect to memorize prompt engineering. But prompt engineering is dead. there is a better life after death. But what is this better life? Prompt engineering is dead, but there is a better life after death. And what is this better life? Let me tell you about it. The way we prompt engineer now is dead. So what we have to do is talk to the model, because we use words now and we assume those words do something. It's like when you talk to your colleague, a friend, sometimes you only need to blink a blink of an eye, or you need half a word and that person knows what you mean. But when prompting, you write down words and you assume the AI does something with those words. You assume what you think it does, but it doesn't always. So you have to start asking it. And how you can do that, we'll come to that later. But we have to talk much more to the AI, what it's doing, the why, how. Ask questions. That's the only way you learn how the AI really works with your prompts. And I call it, I didn't make up this word, it's called promptology. And if you do promptology, you become a promptologist. And of course, I asked ChatGPT, what is a promptologist? And the term suggests a blend of technical knowledge, like engineering, and an understanding of communication and behavior, aka psychology. So promptology is a combination of prompt engineer and a prompt psychologist, which is the best of both worlds. Where does this lead to? To boldly go where no one has gone before, because that's where we are at the AI age. We assume, but we really don't know what's going on inside the AI. I hear experts making the AI models, and sometimes they don't even understand why the model is doing what it does. So we have to start from scratch. And this reminds me when I was a little kid, my Commodore 64, cassette tape, and basically you had a computer and there was no manuals. You copied software, which was normal in those days, no manual, and you would just start Control A, Control B, Control C, Control D. What does it do? You have to use logical sense, creativity, to find out what does it do. No manual, find it out yourself. And that's what I've been doing the last 1.5 years, just talking to the model, discovering things, and it cost me 2,000 hours, but it's very interesting. And what I've come up with is the what will you do technique. And what will you do will actually ask the model what it does with a prompt. So what will you do when I ask you to give the prompt? And what is the difference if I ask you to another prompt? Do not execute the prompt, but explain me what you will do. This has given me lots of insight in what the model really does with a prompt. One of these insights was we prompt in English or German, or I'm Dutch. We can prompt in Portuguese, which I talked to someone recently. And most of you have seen that the model sounds typical American. So although we prompt in our own language, the model still sounds American. Now, a very simple solution for that is tell the model which country or region you're in. And again, that's something you can ask the model. What will you do when I ask you? This is the region and without region. And then it will tell you, it will go in a different mode and consider the regional aspects. And again, you can also ask it in the roles. What will you do when I ask you to act as a copywriter, to rewrite a text? And what's the difference if I ask you to act as a French-Belgium copywriter? Again, this is an example. Everyone uses roles now. But before the role, you should really put the country in front of it. Because putting the country in front of a role will put that role in a more targeted role for your country. You will notice it will get better. I'm not a fan of copywriter or marketeer. There are different techniques where I can control it much deeper. But if you use roles, at least put the country in front of the role, it will make the output a lot better. And again, you can ask it here. French, Belgium copywriter. What's the difference? Ask it. Just use these techniques. It will give you more insight in what it does. Now, what I've also found is it tends to get stereotype. Like it gets stereotype English, it could get stereotype Belgium. Again, act as a non-stereotype French-Belgium copywriter. You will notice this, and it's like when you read a text, you analyze it, and you see, well, this is like stereotype. What you think, put it in a prompt. It's almost as simple as that. And again, you can ask it. Ask what you have in your head. Ask it and compare it to the prompt you were using. Again, this will give you insight in what the model does. At least that's what I've been doing the last 9 months, and it's gotten me deeper and deeper in the model, understanding what it does. Is it always right? No. But 9 out of 10, it is. So, copywriter, general improvement of quality. Now, if I took the French-Belgium copywriter, it says tailoring the text to French-Belgium speaking cultural and linguistic norms. The non-stereotypical French-Belgium copywriter, ensuring the text is culturally sensitive, avoiding cliches, and providing a modern, respectful portrayal of the audience. This is the summary of the previous prompt. I asked the model to compare the 3 different prompts. It's as simple as that. So if you use non-stereotypical French-Belgium copywriter or put Portuguese, I recently talked to someone from Portugal, and he said, well, when I use Portuguese, it sounds almost Brazilian, which in Brazil, they're using also Portuguese. Turns out, if you ask the model about Portuguese, it uses international Portuguese. So you really have to tell it, use Portuguese targeted to Portugal. It sounds almost ridiculous, but this is how the model works. But the what will you do technique, I ask it also, generate, make, create, or craft a curiosity gap title. Now, most of you, like I did in the past, make this, make that, do this, do that. Generate, make, create, or craft all sound familiar, same. But when you ask the model the differences, it gets very interesting. When I use generate, it focuses on a systematic, perhaps more formulaic approach. Make implies a bit more customization based on provided details. Create suggests a more original and inventive process. And craft emphasizes precision and careful construction for maximum effect. So the next time you are going to make a title or curiosity gap, try craft or create. You will find that when you use craft a title, the model will use different parameters and you will get a better result. Same for create. Now, when you make a Excel table, for example, you could say generate, make, create, or craft. It won't make a difference. Again, you can ask it. Ask it when I make a table, when I use generate, make, create, or craft, is there any difference? No, because a table, an Excel table is an Excel table and it doesn't make a difference. But creating a text, crafting a text, a title, that makes a difference. Again, these are just 4 words. There are many more words which you could use and ask about it. So this is what I mean with You think you prompt something, but you have no idea what the model really does. And only by asking, you can find out what the model does with the words you're using. How does the model really use those words? In what mode will it use it? And again, this will bring you further, and it will get you away from average. Because average, that's what I see in the new models. I have to use deeper and deeper prompting to get out of average. People say the model gets better. Yes, it does, for the average user. Using less prompts, it knows what you mean. But it will give you average result based on what it learned from all the people, and it's taken the average responses from those. So yes, for most people it will get better, but it will get average. And I call it average. What you really want is more colorful. You want to get away from the average result as an expert in marketing or copywriting or anything else in your field. You want to get away from the average result. You want more, you want better. You want more colorful. Now here we have some colors of green. So if you go and prompt deeper, you will get some nice shades of green. There's a little bit of blue. But what you really want, colors. You want all the colors. You want generative AI. And generative AI is really using the model at its best. It's combining things which have never been combined before. An example, Jenga, a block game. Jenga is a game. Now, I tried a couple of months ago or half a year ago, use Jenga as a summary. Now, Jenga is not a summary technique. And well, I asked the model, well, what will you do when I use Jenga as a summary? I don't know Jenga, a summary technique. And I had to tell it, well, use Jenga like the block game as a summary technique. And then it starts a generative approach. Jenga is taking out blocks. Then it says, well, I have to take out pieces of text similar to Jenga until I have all the important pieces of text. It's a completely different summary technique, and that's a good example of generative AI. And when you use generative AI, your human creativity, you can do the most incredible creative things. But in the end, it's all about your creativity. Your creativity makes generative AI possible. The AI model itself knows a lot, but in the end, it doesn't know what it knows. It only knows what's combined in its data set. So if I combine like Jenga and summary, it's never been combined before. And that's generative AI. So your creativity, this makes generative AI possible, and it will make it possible that you outgrow the average results. A very nice example of that is low literacy, false friends, Nigeria. I started with this on a project a couple of months ago, write a text for low literacy, which is a common problem in the Netherlands and in many countries. False friends, I'd never heard about it. But it's interesting because I asked it, well, what will you do when I ask you to write a text in low literacy and the person I'm writing it for comes from Nigeria? Then it came up with false friends, and false friends are basically words in English which have a completely different meaning in Nigerian or like any other country. So what you could do is rewrite this text for someone who has low literacy, is originally from Nigeria, and prevent false friends. So what it will do then is it will rewrite this text in English or any other language, and it will substitute the words, the false friends words, for other words, so that people, in this case from Nigeria, will not get confused. Now, this is a very nice example of generative AI. You need to be English speaking and from Nigeria to know these words. Otherwise, you will have no clue about this. So for me, this is an eye opener. And again, you can ask the model about it. What will it do? It's just combining things which it already knows. It knows low literacy, it knows false friends, and now you're going to combine it. It will not do it by itself unless you tell it to. And that's your strengths as a promptologist, your creativity. You can do amazing things like these. There are courses for this which you can follow, 1,000 euros or more, and at the press of a button using a prompt, you can use this. So again, you can ask it, what will you do when I ask you to rewrite a text for someone with low literacy in Belgium, who is originally from Nigeria, and prevent the use of false friends? Explain what you will do. And now the model will explain you what it will do. Asking. It's the only thing I do. Ask, compare. Only by asking and comparing you will see the differences between small words. One word difference can make a huge difference. Compare, ask, and this is how I learn, and this is, I think, how you can learn mastering the AI and get the best results out of it. Yes, it takes time. It takes a lot of time, a shitload of time. So there's no shortcut. There's no cheat sheets. You have to learn. I can tell you now, so you can learn from this, and this will save you a lot of time. But in the end, you will have to master it, and that takes time. Another example, marketing psychology. If you're into marketing, Cialdini, Fogg, Kahneman, Vogler, David Rock-Scarf, Prevent Reactance. This is what I've been using in my profiles that I built. These are all psychological marketing frameworks. Cialdini has 7 principles. He's the world's best known influence specialist. BJ Fogg has a different system. Kahneman, system 1 and 2, which says as a human you look at things emotional, which is system 1, and rational, you look at technical specifications, system 2. Vogler, the dialogue method. David Rock-Scarf, something completely different. Again, you can ask the model, what is the David Rock-Scarf model? Explain it to me. These psychologists have never been combined. And the AI model knows them, and I can combine them. That's, again, generative AI. You can combine all these different psychological models. But be careful, not all of these models can be combined. So you can ask it, this is my purpose, this is my target audience, I have these and these psychological principles. Can I combine them? And the model will tell you yes or no. I have used some psychological systems and it would just say no, it's the opposite effect, or it just doesn't work. You only know when you ask the model. And again, it will give a pretty good result when you ask it. Nice example, I heard about StoryBrand framework. Never heard of it before. It's like I hear about things I never heard before, so the only thing I do is I start asking the model what a StoryBrand framework, and can I combine this with, in this case, the David Rock-Scarf model, which works very nice for human resource, for certain jobs. The combination David Rock and StoryBrand is a killer. Not for all, but again, you can ask it. Again, you see different things. Can I combine them? Now, these are frameworks from marketing. Out-of-the-box thinking is really use the Jenga technique for summary, which Jenga and summary is completely different. So if you really want to go out of the box, use a technique from a completely different market and use it in your market and combine it. But ask it what it will do. Only when asking it what it will do, you will know whether it works or not. Give your purpose, give your target audience, then you give the different models, frameworks you want to use, and ask it, can I combine this and what will it do? You will get amazing results this way, but only when you ask it, it will tell you whether it works or not. It might work because in the end, the AI just makes assumptions based on what it knows. And sometimes it's completely wrong. They can be combined or the other way around. But 9 out of 10, it's right. So again, it will make you more creative. If you're creative, it will make you more creative and you can do things a lot faster. And one of the things I've used in the past is the power of 3 words in a row, which many of you see in marketing. If you're in marketing, you will know. The von Westorff effect, which is basically when I say I see a table, a chair, a lizard, table. Now, lizard doesn't fit into this, which is a von Westorff effect, which you will see on many web pages where you see most sold. It's highlighted. Now, you can do it subtle, or you can do it not subtle. In this case, I asked it use the power of 3 words, and also one of these 3 words should be a Cialdini principle, reciprocity in this case. So when I have fast, free, fresh, the word free is the von Westorff effect word. You will see free. Free is also a Cialdini principle. So in this case, I use the power of 3 words, all starting with an F, von Westorff effect, and a Cialdini principle. Now, in my book I wrote, I have an example of this as a solid, exclusive, stylish chair. Now, when you use exclusive for a high-priced product, the word exclusive is what you read. When I use this is a solid, safe, stylish chair, and you sell children's chairs, the word safe is something which you want to read as a parent. Again, that's a von Westorff effect. And you can use this, use the power of 3 words in a row, a von Westorff effect, one of Cialdini principles, and instead of the word free, give me 10 different words. When you ask for 10 different words, there's always a word in there which will fit in. If it doesn't, ask for 10 more, This will make it very simple to do subtle psychology using these different techniques, which have, again, never been combined before. And that's the strength of generative AI. I mean, I really like it. I can't get enough of it. And practical examples of what I've been doing with this is creating brand voice style profiles. And I use up to 80 elements. So most people think about tone of voice, but there's also tone, there's voice, there's style, there's language use. And these are just 5 elements which I use when I create brand voice and style profiles. I also add marketing to that. So what I've been doing the last 9 months is creating profiles where I can control the output of any text. So I can create a journalistic profile and can create a Apple-like profile. I write like IKEA, add marketing to it. I can use famous bloggers, let them sell products by adding marketing to it. Again, I'm using what you saw in the previous spreadsheet, Cialdini, Fogg, Kahneman, Vogler, scarf model, and reactants. This has taken me a lot of time, but I'm now able to control almost any text the way I want. 80 elements is a lot, but this is really how I can control the AI. So when people say, write as a copywriter or a marketeer, I think it's nice, but it's beginner because you don't know what you're doing. What I'm doing with these profiles, the 80 elements, is really controlling how should this copywriter write, what language, what style, what tone of voice, plus up to 80 elements, including marketing. So I'm not saying it's a marketeer, really specifying what it should do. So it's me making the template, what it should do. And this is really how we should start using AI, is controlling everything. But it's difficult. The deeper you go, the more difficult it gets. And as I said, this has taken me hundreds of hours of time to understand this. Lots of frustration, but it's working now, and it's a very nice example of generative AI. And I was only able to do this by asking the model. But we have evolution, and evolution is very nice because once you've mastered your prompting and you think you understand how the model interprets your language, we get the next model. So we have ChatGPT 3.5, we have 4, we have 4.0, 5 is around the corner, we have Claude, we have Gemini, and it evolves, and it means that the words you were using half a year ago, the prompts, they might not work on the new model, or they might not do what you have been doing. And that's what I've seen in ChatGPT. It gets better when using simple prompting, but again, this gives the average results. And to get out of that average result, I have to prompt even deeper. I have to tell it what it can do and what it can't do. And that's sometimes very frustrating because you had a prompt which worked very well. But the more the model develops, the more it will make assumptions based on what the average user wants. And this means that probably next year it will do a very good job for the average user. But for the professional user who wants to get out of that average result, you really have to understand what it does using that prompt. And then you have to start negative prompting. You can't do this, you can't do that. You have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. And that means you have to keep on prompting, keep on asking what it will do. And this will take a very long time. And as AI evolves, it means you have to go deeper and deeper into the model to control it. And yes, that you need creative thinking for that, logical thinking, analytical thinking, and again, lots of time. Now, some of these things can be automated because we see agents now. And I like the idea of agents, and you have agents talking to each other. I see people using AI to make their prompting. Again, it's nice you can have AI do your prompting, but the AI can only prompt what it knows in its data set. In the previous slides, I gave you an example of things I combined. The AI could never combine those because it doesn't know how to combine them. So, yes, what I'm doing now is I make my own prompts, combining things which have never been combined before, and then put them in the AI to optimize my prompting. So yes, I have the AI help me, but I still first, I make my own prompts and then have AI optimize it. And that's how it will work for a long time if you want to get away from the average results. So I hope you liked my presentation. If you have any questions, you can follow me on LinkedIn, send me an email, and thank you for your time, and happy prompting, everyone.